What is going on, everyone? It is a new streaming week, and it is a new release day here on DSPGaming with the release of Assassin's Creed Mirage. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about, including gaming news and more. A jam-packed podcast on the way right after this. What is going on, my friends? Welcome to a new streaming week. I am DSP, and today is Friday, the 6th of October, 2023. What a week we have in store, folks, because not only do we have a major new release in Assassin's Creed Mirage, which we're starting together today, we've got multiple other things going on. I've got to finish up ongoing playthroughs that have been going on now for a few weeks in order to make room for all the new releases coming out. That means Lies of P. That also means the Resident Evil 4 Separate Ways DLC. In addition to that, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 is having its beta, open beta that is, over the course of this weekend. And obviously it makes sense for me to play it at least once to help judge if this is a game that I'm going to want to purchase come November. Because right now I'm on the fence, just like I was a few years ago with Call of Duty Vanguard. And you remember how bad that beta was? So that helped me to determine it was a skip year, so it's very important to be able to test out these games ahead of time rather than commit to them and then end up having buyer's remorse. So we've got a heck of a lot going on this week that's a definite. There's also some things that may or may not happen. For example, Forza Motorsport is releasing on the Xbox Game Pass system this coming Tuesday, and I don't know if I want to play that or not. I would like to, but I just don't know if I'm going to have opportunity. If I really have to play catch up with everything else that I'm doing right now and finish off all these ongoing playthroughs, will I have time to even give the game a shot, or is it just a hard skip? There's a lot of big question marks about this week. So in addition to a very busy gaming week, we've also got stuff going on over on DSP Reacts, including horror movie reviews that have started. I actually just reviewed Scream 5 a couple of days ago, and my review of Halloween Kills will be going live over there shortly, plus, of course, my weekly React stream on Sunday, so that's exciting. In addition to everything I just mentioned, we've got a ton of gaming news to talk about today, as well as some updates and other things, so holy moly, we've got tons to get to today, so let's jump right into the show, shall we? All right. So, today is indeed a Friday. You know what that means. It means Friday Night Fights with Street Fighter 6. And what I'd like to do, essentially, before we jump into the content for the rest of the week, I would like to talk about what happened back on my streaming day on Wednesday before I went on break. Lies of P went really well. We got very far into the end game of the game to the point where we kind of beat the entire final dungeon. And from what people are telling me, there's a boss, a little bit more of gameplay, and then basically the finale bosses, and that's the end of the game. So I'm literally at the end of Lies of P. I actually did even really well against the boss that I was facing. I got to the second form and got it down to only a third of health, and then I ran out of time. So undoubtedly within, say, another, hopefully, hour, I will be able to beat that boss and move on to the end game of the game. Now, here's the funny part with Lies of P, okay? Originally, this game apparently had one of the most difficult end bosses of any video game ever. That's what I was told. Like, the final boss of Lies of P was legit so hard that even people who are great at Soulsborne games, main Soulsborne content creators, were taking upwards of 5 hours to beat the final boss because it was so difficult. I mean, what is that, Millennia level, right? Seriously, that's like the level of the hardest boss of Elden Ring. So, that's pretty nuts. But they patched it. If you remember, last week, this game was patched, and certain bosses, the 4th boss, the Archbishop, the 6th boss, the King of Puppets, and the final boss were patched to basically make it much easier, supposedly, okay? So, now, it might not be a big deal. In fact, what people were telling me earlier in the week was actually the boss that I'm facing in Lies of P now may actually be the hardest boss in the game, because since the final boss was nerfed, a lot of people are just one-shotting the final boss. Will that happen for me? I have absolutely no idea. You know me. Things that tend to go right or wrong for certain people always do the opposite for me. So I guess we'll see what happens, okay? Then, on Wednesday night, we performed a very interesting experiment. And I'm very happy that we did this, because this is something that I was dying to find out just through some data. And I'm absolutely glad that people helped me out to track this data and figure this out. So, what am I talking about? Well, Wednesday night, if you remember, I played Street Fighter 6, and I played with Blanca. It was a Master Blanca stream. It was only my second Master Blanca stream. Earlier in the week, on Monday night, I had tried it, and I had 24 wins and 32 losses for a 43% win-loss ratio. Ouch. That's no good. That's definitely in the realm of a losing streak, and I don't want to keep that going. I want to improve that record, right? So, I had observed something pretty interesting since that Monday night stream. It seemed like the vast majority of people who I were facing in Street Fighter 6 at the master level all said cross-platform. That means the vast majority of people at that high ranking in Street Fighter 6 are not playing it on PlayStation 5, which is a bizarre statistic, because did you know that over 50% of the people who own Street Fighter 6 own it on PS5? It's data. It's like, I think it's like 58%. At least, you know, when that statistic was created, whenever that was. But, you know, we were talking around 60% of people who bought the game own it on one platform. Then why is it when I'm playing at the highest skill level, almost no one's on that platform? But at that point, it was just a guess. It was off of my, you know, just thinking from what I felt. And I said, when I play this on Wednesday night, I want to actually track the data. So we did. Wednesday night, I played a grand total of 54 matches. Okay? 54 total matches. I think that equated to, I want to say, 27 sets. Although it wasn't always a full set of 3, because sometimes it was 2-0. Sometimes it was a one and done where I beat them or they beat me and then they rage quit. So it was only one. So out of these 54 matches, arguably like 27 different people who I fought. Okay, we tracked the data. First of all, I won more than I lost, and I'm happy for that. I want to have a winning night. I won 30 wins and 24 losses, so 56% win-loss ratio. I mean, that's not bad. It's certainly not great, but I'd rather come up positive than negative, and the fact that I'm playing at master level and I'm getting a positive ratio is obviously a great thing, correct? So here's the data. You ready for this? We counted live. Out of those 27 people I fought, 23 of them were cross-platform. Only 4 players out of 27 were on PS5. I would like you to think about that for a moment. Okay, let's do some math, shall we? You ready for this? Excuse me. Because to me, I'm sorry, that just absolutely blows my mind when you think about that. All right? Out of 27 players, only 4 were on PS5. That is 14%? No. Yes, 14%. Okay, maybe round up. 15%. How does it make sense that only 15% of the people I played were on PS5 when 60% of people who own the game are on PS5. That doesn't seem statistically jive. It's as if there's a correlation here. As if, like, people who are ranking high in the game are not playing it on PS5. That's interesting, isn't it? Now, FYI, someone, as I was playing live, looked at every single time that it said cross-platform and essentially tried to find the player. Now, this is all, reliant on, people who are watching or whatever, okay? But apparently 2 of the players who I played cross-platform were on Xbox. That would honestly make sense, because if you actually do the math there, if you say 2 out of 27, that's only about 7%. Well, the statistic is, I believe it was like 13% of players who own this game are on Xbox. So if you could argue, all right, maybe 8% of the players I played versus the 13% who own it on Xbox, it kind of jives. That does kind of make sense. You know what I'm saying? But does it make any sense then that literally 21 out of 27 players were on PC? That is 78%. 78% of the people I play at master level are on PC. An overwhelming majority, right? Now, I want you to think about this very clearly. Do you think that's coincidence? Do you think that by supreme luck, that the most people who are at the master level of the game just happen to be all on the same platform? Oh, it was just a lucky thing that it happened that way, right? No. All right? So here's what's going on. It's sad but true. Over the course of Street Fighter V, all right, pro players began to realize that there were ways to get an upper edge playing this game online. Now, normally it wouldn't matter, because in the era of Street Fighter IV, nobody cared about online play. It was mostly for just practice. But in the era of Street Fighter V, things changed. In the era of Street Fighter V, there started to be an entire series of online tournaments being held. All right, especially during the COVID era. You couldn't even go to a physical location to play the game because they didn't have them. You had to play online if you wanted to stay in the competitive community. So what ended up happening was people found ways around the limitations of playing online. Notably, getting these games on PC and finding all kinds of tweaks, hacks, and things to make them essentially give you an upper edge. Now, I am not saying that people are cheating the game. You know what I'm saying? Because some people are like, oh, that means that they're doing like crazy macros and they press a button and it does a giant combo for them. Or, no, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, by tweaking this game on PC, pro players have found ways around some of the limitations of online play. They have dramatically reduced the amount of input delay from when they press a button and something happens in the game. They have found ways that they're going to get better connections. They have also found a way to limit delayed or dropped inputs. And what I mean by that is, one thing that I'm distinctly noticing at the master level, particularly when I'm playing people in crossplay, is that for some odd reason, the game is mistiming my inputs or literally dropping them entirely. One of the basic bread and butter combos of Blanca is standing roundhouse, standing fierce punch, his coward crouch move, and another fierce punch. It's 3 hits. It's one of the easiest combos to perform in the entirety of the game. And multiple times playing at the master level, the game is claiming that either I'm not pressing the button or my timing is off. Despite the fact that I have played more with Blanca than any other character in the game. 1,396 matches, and you're telling me I haven't mastered a 3-hit combo with Blanca yet. I find it slightly hard to believe that it's me. Sorry on this one, but I'm going to call bullshit. If you're talking about the new character, Aki, who has tough execution, harder combos, things like that, I will say it's me. That's me and my execution. I don't know the character yet. I don't have the muscle memory yet. I'm getting older. Aki actually hurt my hand when I was playing with her. Seriously. After I was done playing with that character, my hand was like throbbing. All right? And I'm like, it's ridiculous. I can't take it. But you're going to tell me a basic 3-hit combo I can't do with Blanca. Consistently, too, because it wasn't like, oh, it dropped it once. It was like multiple times during these matches. And, of course, always against a crossplay player. Always against a crossplay player that it would drop. So, yeah, what I'm seeing here, sadly, is that with Street Fighter 6, there is sadly, a situation where pro players have figured out the best way to play this game is to have PC, likely doing something to tweak it. Now, I know for a fact that there are players in the FGC who have actually custom tweaked their PCs to play this game. I know that sounds ridiculous. That sounds like a real try-hard mentality, does it not? Oh my god, people actually have a fucking gaming PC, and they sat there, and they actually tweaked the shit out of it? Yes. There's I know of one. I don't know of more. There's one that's called FGOS, or FGCOS. It's a fighting game operating system tweak, where you tweak your OS on your PC to give you less input delay when you're playing Street Fighter Online. It exists. I shit you not. During my day off, someone fucking sent me a link to it. They were like, so this is what it is, and you're not supposed to have it, but people pirated the shit out of it, and it's all over the internet, and all the pro players use this. And I was like, well, obviously I'm not going to put it on my PC. My PC is on Windows 8, outdated as shit, you know, but I was like, so this is what they're all using. Yep, pretty much. That's what they're all doing. And there's other things, too. Apparently, for them to understand, there's different devices that they're using with their controllers and things that actually reduce input lag. So they're doing every possible thing to give themselves an advantage. Now, the real question here is, how much of an advantage, and is it an unfair advantage? Those are really the two questions that need to be posed. It's not, is there an advantage? Because this has happened in the last console gen as well. With Street Fighter V, the same exact thing was present. So, I don't know. That's what I can't answer. Because I'm not part of the FGC. And quite frankly, if you want to know the truth, if you went to any major FGC pro player right now and you asked them about it, they probably wouldn't tell you. They don't want you to know. Because if they told you, oh my god, the spot is exposed. Gee, I wonder why every pro Street Fighter 6 player is playing only on PC, and they all seem to be in Master, and they all seem to have great execution, and they don't drop their combos, and they don't have input delay. Gee, I wonder if everyone publicly knew about that, what would happen? You know what I'm saying? So, and by the way, I hate to say this, it used to always be like this in the FGC. I'm not kidding you. There was always an elitist attitude. There was always a good old boys club of those who were pro players who got all the advantages. You would go to a tournament, they'd be treated differently, they get to play on the better cabinets, they get to come late, and they get treated nicely. It's the same in mentality. It's the good old boys club of the upper echelon of FGC. They know exactly what they're doing, and they're going to do whatever they can to get ahead. It sucks. It sucks. Because for a common player, imagine you're just someone who doesn't know about any of this, and all you want to do is play the game and get good at it, and you finally get to play a pro player. It's like, gee, isn't it funny that they're literally reacting to every single thing I do instantly? I try to react to what they're doing, and it feels like I'm playing underwater in a tub of molasses covered by silly putty with chains and all kinds of weights hanging off of my body, and gravity is 100 times as strong as usual. Why is my reaction that slow, but they get to play like it's fast? Because they're playing on a fucking PC with all these tweaks. What can you do? Now, again, here's the thing. I can't tell you with any kind of real evidence what exactly the methods are or how much of an advantage it is. All I can tell you is when you go to play Master and 78% of the people you're playing are on PC, there's a pattern there for a reason. Do you think that by chance everyone just decided to buy a Street Fighter 6 on PC and just happened to luck into Master when that's all the people at the top echelons? Of fucking course not. I knew that there was something going on when I was watching videos of top level players playing Street Fighter 6, and I would absorb tech in these videos before I would play Street Fighter. In fact, I did it last night. I watched some Blanca videos of a top level Blanca, and I'm going to try to employ that gameplay tonight when I play. Every single person I've watched is playing on PC, without exception. There is not one singular top player that I've watched play with Blanca, Honda, Luke, Lily. I'm not kidding. They're all on PC. No one is playing this game on console and is a pro player. No one. And the funny part that people will say, oh, well, that's because they're streamers, so they have a streaming PC. Just think about what you just said. Do you really think that they want to stream on the same PC that they're playing the game on? Guess what that does? It slows it down. A lot of these people have dedicated PCs just to run the game, and then a separate setup to stream. Yes. Yes, they're running dual PC setups so that they don't have any issues to screw around with it. All right? So, yeah. It's pretty ridiculous. And the thing is, again, how bad of a situation is it? Well, here's the truth. For me, it's actually not that bad. Why? I have no aspirations to play Street Fighter 6 at a competitive level. I already told you guys, I'm not traveling to any tournaments. I'm not entering any competitions, online or offline. My goal with Street Fighter 6 was to prove that I could hang in this game at a semi-competitive level, at least with the online community. You know, by getting multiple characters, including one of the worst with Lily, to master level, and being able to play and win the amount that I have, and try to get back in line with the game. That was pretty awesome, quite frankly, and I'm still enjoying it, and I don't want to stop that. In fact, now that I'm playing at master level, I think it's even more interesting, right? So, I'm going to keep that going. But, at the same time, I told you guys, I didn't have any aspirations to do any better than just being a decent at the online play and being able to show you guys some great gameplay, which I feel I've done. In the last 4 months, I think I've shown you guys some really good Blanca, Honda, and Lily gameplay, and I'm happy to have brought that to you, because normally I'm just a scrub at these games, and I just fuck around, and I bring fundamentals of Street Fighter to the table that gets me a few wins, and then I just drop the game. In this case, that hasn't happened, okay? So, that's pretty nuts, right? That's pretty nuts what's going on. So to me, it's not a huge deal. What I feel this is a huge deal about is, number one, if you do have an online tournament, I do feel that that's ridiculously unfair. That just because someone bought the version on PC and somehow tweaked their hardware in some way, or maybe software, or both, because I don't actually know what it is, whatever it was they did, now they don't drop inputs, they get everything instantly, you're playing underwater, but this is supposed to be a competition. Again, this is the equivalent. Alright? The equivalent of back in the day going to an arcade, and you both are playing on the same arcade cabinet. The left-hand side works absolutely flawlessly, and the right-hand side has all kinds of issues. The buttons don't work half the time, the joystick won't block down back properly. But you're supposed to play in a competitive level, who cares? Just play. Stop complaining. What? No. That's not fair, that's not competitive, that's completely ridiculous and one-sided, and it shouldn't be considered real competition. So it's the same situation here. If there's going to be tournaments for this game, all right, there has to be some level of vetting of the competition. Is there someone who has found a way to get an unfair leg up on everybody else? How is that fair? I don't think that is fair. But that's my take. And, you know, the people in the FGC will likely have different takes. Like I said, good luck getting a pro FGC player to talk publicly about this, because they likely never would, because it benefits them to have these kind of advantages. So why on earth would they blow up the spot of the FGC to reveal this kind of stuff, correct? So, that's my observations at this point. Now, I'm going to continue to do this. As I continue to play Street Fighter 6, I would like to keep tracking this. How many people I play are cross-platform, and i.e., how many are really playing on PC versus not. Now, it's funny because people who are completely ridiculous say, just turn off crossplay. Do you not understand how these games work? Allow me to explain, okay? Crossplay allows you to have a thriving, healthy player pool. The reason that I've played Street Fighter 6 at launch, and every time that we've played this game online, I have constantly found matches, is crossplay. No matter what, I can find competition. Right now, again, the statistics are as follows. 56 to 60% of people who own the game own it on PS5. About 20-some own it on PC. I think it's like low teen percentages own it on Xbox, and like 4% bought it on PS4. Okay? If you turn off crossplay, you are limiting your player base. You're cutting off at least 40% of the player base who are playing the game. Now, I want you to think statistically about the other night when I played. Out of the 27 people I played, 23 of them were cross-platform. So what you're telling my PlayStation to do is to cut out 80% of the player base of this game and only give me matchups against people on PS5, which is what, 20-something percent? And then on top of that, we already know that only a small percentage of those on PS5 have Hitmaster, just from our evidence the other night. Here's what will happen, all right? And we could try it if you want. You're not going to be happy. Every match will be laggy, because what the game's going to be forced to do is match me up only with those on PS5, of which there's a very small percentage likely in the master level. What this game does, it looks regionally at people near you and their connections. So every time that I play this game online, I'm likely playing people from Washington State, California, West Coast of Canada, Oregon, and this area of the country. All the way up and down the West Coast is likely who I'm playing. Then if it can't find anyone there, it expands a little bit eastward and westward. It's probably rare that they would match me up with someone from the East Coast of the United States or across the ocean over in Japan, even though the game has cross-region play, and you should think, well, then I should be able to play against people all over the world. It's very unlikely you would ever have that happen. That's just how it works. It's trying to give you the optimized best connection. I would almost argue that simply because of the fact that we know now that most of the pro players seem to be playing on PC to get that advantage, I would almost always have a laggy connection against someone at the master level if I just say only PS5. If you guys really want me to waste time, I'll do it. I don't care. It doesn't affect me. We'll play 2-3 laggy matches. You'll see how fucking bad it is, and what's the point? But the other thing you have to understand is, if I shut off crossplay, I'm never going to play a pro player. You will never see me play against any of the notable players in the FGC, because they're all playing on PC. None of them are using PS5. So I'll only be playing more casualized players like myself. You'll never see me face the greats, which I think is kind of what people want. Don't you eventually want to see me face the better players in this game? And I think if I grind away at this game and I get better, even though, yes, I'm always going to seem to have an unfair advantage against all these crossplay players, excuse me, they're going to have an unfair advantage against me, I would say. I think eventually I'll start to play at a better level and I'll start to grind it out. Okay? I do. I think that I'll just get better at the game in general. And because of that, I'll start to scale up the ranks of the master level points. Right now, I've already lost a ton of points, and I got to try to earn them all back. You know, it's a kind of a hard start, because you start right off the bat with people who've been playing master nonstop, and they're all on PC, and they're kicking your ass, right? So all I can do is try. But here's the thing: like, I remember out of the 4 matches that I played on PS5, one of them was against a JP with almost a 100 millisecond connection. It was literally impossible to stop. You couldn't stop his spamming projectile pattern because of the lag. You couldn't react to it. I believe I beat the other 3 players. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm almost positive I beat the other 3 PS5 players. But I remember the connections weren't great. I think they were all like 90 to 100 milliseconds, right? So, oh, excuse me. So, it's up to you guys what you want. If you really want me to try another experiment tonight, I'll try it. But right now, what I'm seeing is, this is the situation of the FGC. And again, this is nothing new for me. This is how it used to be back in the day. Everyone looking for an advantage over everyone else, however it may be, a good old boys club who all just keep everything kind of on the down low of how they're playing so well and how they stay at the top. This has always been like this, okay? Always. It has never been any different. It's just a new era of this. 20 years later, everything's online, so they changed it around a little bit the way that they do it, but they're still doing it. You know, the thing is, I was never part of that. Literally, I was the one against all of that. You know, when I ran a tournament back in the day, I told everyone up front, everyone's equal. I don't care if you're the biggest, most notable pro player everyone is coming to see play, or if you're just Joe Nobody and this is your first tournament. You're all equal. You're all here on time. You all enter the same way. You pay the same entry fee. You get treated the same in the bracket. You're there for your matches. I don't want to hear any baloney. And you know what happened? A lot of people didn't like me for that, because some pro players got disqualified because they were late. And they were like, well, I don't understand. This is the only tournament I've ever gone to that I'm not being treated differently. Why don't I get... I mean, you understand that I'm a pro player, and because I'm at your tournament, I brought in heads to your tournament. People came to see me play. I was like, and it's too bad they're not going to see you play because you fucking showed up late. Everyone else was here on time. Too bad. So sad. Bye-bye. You're not in the tournament. So, that's how I was back in the day. You know, that's me. No nonsense, Phil. Some people respect that. Some people don't. I guess if you're at the top and you want to be treated like a special snowflake, you don't like me, right? But it is what it is. Again, I was always the community whistleblower. I was always the one who was to talk about this stuff publicly while everyone else wanted to be quiet. Oh, Phil, zip your lips. Why talk about this stuff publicly? Because then people will know about it and be upset about it. You don't want them to know about our formula that works. And this is how the community keeps staying, how we keep staying in this good old boys club on top. It's like, okay, whatever you say. Whatever you say, you want to keep having unfair advantage. I'm not for that, right? So anyway, Yeah, so that's what's going on in Street Fighter 6, all right? Tonight we got another stream talked about, or scheduled. We'll talk about the schedule now. And I'm curious what you guys want, all right? But before we get to that, let's actually talk about the schedule for the week. We'll do the Phil's Day Off segment. We got news. We got a lot to get to on today's show. By the way, it is hot, and it's going to be hot for 2 more fucking days. This is absolutely ridiculous. So it is October 6th. We are firmly into autumn here in the United States. It is 78 degrees in Washington today. Tomorrow it's going to be in the mid-80s. I don't have air conditioning. I took it out a month ago. And we're having a fucking heat wave. So I'm going to be unseasonably hot, sweating. Not in a very good mood, honestly. Once it gets hot, there's nothing I can do about this, okay? And I'm very upset because I was enjoying the autumn weather. For like 2 weeks, it was nice. It was rain and clouds almost every day. I was like, oh, this is great. And now we're going to be ready for all these new releases. I can tackle them with, a nice, healthy attitude. And then I'm going to be honest, when I'm in here and it's like 90 degrees in my office, I'm trying to play games with you guys, it's fucking annoying. And there's no way around it. I don't have central air. I can't install central air because it costs too much. I have blinds blocking the sun, and it doesn't matter. The office heats up 20 degrees in the afternoon. It's like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? It's stupid. So this really blows, and if you hear me being kind of cranky today, you kind of know why I'm cranky, I'm sitting here, and I can't even open my blinds because the sun is beating so hard on that window, I won't be able to see. And thank you, Mango, for the super chat, but please. Scaring everyone here. But anyway, yeah, that's what's going on. That's why I'm cranky. All right, let's talk about the schedule for the week, okay? Today's main stream is the premiere of Assassin's Creed Mirage. I was able to get the game on Ubisoft Plus. This is the monthly subscription service that we use, or you can use, to get access to all of Ubisoft's hot games, both old and new, similar to like Game Pass, but it's their own Game Pass for only their games under their umbrella. So obviously it's a hell of a lot less games, but some of the games I saw on there, the Crew Motorfest, which is essentially the Crew's version of Forza Horizon, that's on there. All the Far Cry games are on there. All the Assassin's Creeds are on there. And the Assassin's Creeds all include all the DLCs as well. So you don't have to buy any DLC. You get all the games and their full stories and everything on there. All the Tom Clancy, Ghost Recon shit, Rainbow Six is on there. All that kind of stuff. And upcoming games, the new Avatar game in December is covered. And apparently that new Prince of Persia game coming out in January is also covered. So a lot of their newer games also are in there. And of course, Assassin's Creed Mirage is one of them. So I spent like $20 and I got a month to beat Assassin's Creed Mirage. Well, being that the game's around 20 hours long, I think we're good. I think we will beat it within the next few weeks. And then I by the way, it's funny because I got the month subscription and I immediately canceled it. Immediately. I was like, dude, I don't want to have this auto-renewing on me. I just want to have it for the month so I can get to Assassin's Creed. And then we'll, I'll maybe renew it again in like December if I get Avatar or whatever. But that's the thing. Why on earth would you at all buy these games outright? Assassin's Creed Mirage is $50 plus tax if you buy it outright, or you can just get the subscription service for $20, play the game once, and be like, okay, I'm done. The only thing I can see, if you're really think you're going to go back in the future and keep replaying the game over and over, then you would want to own it outright. But I see it like an extended rental. Like you have a month rental to beat the game. Okay, that sounds good to me. I'm not going to take more than a month to beat it, So yeah, let's do that, right? So same thing, with the Avatar game. That's supposed to be a full-fledged game, right? That's like $70 plus tax. I'm just going to get this subscription service again. Why on earth would I not? And it's a little annoying because to do Ubisoft Plus, you can't just do it through your console. You have to do it through their website and then link the website to your Xbox account and then sync the two. It's so stupid. It's like create an account over here, create an account over here, sync the two, sign up for Ubisoft Plus, literally link it again to get it to work. It's like an insane process. Why can't you just sign up for it on Xbox and you're done? Nope. You got to spend like an hour figuring this out. It's kind of a pain in the ass. But once you get it done, it works. And you're saving a lot of money. So I recommend to anyone who's into these Ubisoft games this next few months, why buy them unless you think you're going to want to go back and replay them, or you don't think it's going to take longer than a month to beat them. That I would just get Ubisoft Plus and save yourself a ton of money. That's what I'm doing. So, I've got it, and I'm excited to try it today. This is supposed to be the return to the classic gameplay of yesteryear. Do you remember when Assassin's Creed used to be about sneaking around on the rooftops of a city, doing stealth assassinations, tailing missions, getting intel, doing some collectibles, breaking into places to try to figure out what's going on with the upper echelon of a city and their high society and how they're basically kind of unfairly treating the people and, you know, stuff like that. That's what it used to be. It used to be a clandestine group of assassins doing clandestine work before the game went open world and became The Witcher, which is exactly what the last 3 games have been, open world Witcher crap. And, you know, now I'm excited to try it out and see if it plays like the classic games or not. We'll find out. And it is a shorter experience, and I'm down for that. Give me a 20-hour experience that has a good story, good gameplay elements, great graphics, and let it be done so I can move on to other fun games this season. And maybe if it's good enough, it'll resonate, and I'll remember it around the end of the year. As opposed to a game that's 80 hours long and has 50 hours of boring padding. The game is tedious as shit, takes too long to fucking finish, repetitive gameplay, repetitive combat. Oh, by the way, there's one quest line that's really notable and everything else you forget. And by the way, by the time the game ends, you forgot any of the plot elements, right? Forget that shit. That's what the last 2-3 games have been. So, I'm excited to jump into it today with all of you. I hope you'll join me for the premiere of Assassin's Creed Mirage here. Let's see how it goes and enjoy the ride. You know, I'll be playing this a good amount. You know, this coming week, I'm playing it today and tomorrow, and then probably again as the major stream Tuesday and or Wednesday. I'm trying to get a good tear into the game this first week because I want to finish it within a couple of weeks before all bigger releases start hitting. So that it should be a good effort, you know, while balancing it with everything else I'm doing, but trying to finish it up relatively within a couple of weeks. So, good stuff. Tonight, as I already said, I'm playing Street Fighter Friday Night Fights, master gameplay with Blanca. So it's your call. If you guys really want to see what happens when I turn off crossplay, we could do that. I can already, here's my prediction. I can't tell you for sure this is what will happen. I think tonight, if I turn off crossplay, we're going to be sitting around waiting for matches and waiting a while. By the time it finds a match, every match will be laggy. Because if we saw 80% of the players in Master are on PC, you've cut out 80% of the player base to play the game. Plus that's also going to cut out the 1 or 2 Xbox players. Just sitting around waiting for PS5, I guarantee you it's going to be a much worse experience. In which case, I'm destined to play at a disadvantage if I ever play at Master, and there's not much I can do about that. But if you really want, we could try. It's up to you. I'll do whatever. I don't give a shit. I told you, I don't even care about wins, losses, and all this shit. It's not a big deal. I've enjoyed the game a lot. I like the fact that I learned it. I'm glad that you guys have found it entertaining. You want to play it at any fucking way or level, I don't care. We'll do whatever you want. So you guys give me your feedback. We'll see what happens tonight on the late stream. We'll go from there. But, you know, if I play for a half an hour and it's literally lag fest, waiting around for matches, like, what's the point? Okay. All right. Tomorrow, it will be more Assassin's Creed Mirage on the first stream. And tomorrow night's late stream will be Endgame of Lies of P. My goal is to hopefully beat that boss that I was facing at the end of my stream on Wednesday and maybe beat it and move on. Will I beat the game on Saturday night? I don't know. We'll see. It'd be great if I did, because I want to see how it all ends and I want to see the final boss and all that. So I hope you guys will join me tomorrow night for Lies of P. Sunday is React Day, meaning on the day stream, it'll be DSP versus the internet over on DSP Reacts. That's my weekly clips react show. Quick reminder to those of you who are channel members over there, you have to nominate your clips by the end of tomorrow night's streams, because tomorrow night is when I'm going to make that playlist. So if you don't have that ready to go, you're not going to get your video watched, all right? And, again, recommendation, we're in the midst of Halloween month. It sure would be great if you could nominate some horror or Halloween-related clips for the show to keep it festive and in tune with the holiday, okay? Sunday night, I'm going to try out the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 beta. It's supposedly going open on the PlayStation 5 this coming Sunday. And so I want to play it for like 2.5 hours and see if I like it or not. Judging on how this performs and how much I like or dislike it will directly influence my decision to purchase the game come November. Because right now, I am not sold on buying this game. Everyone has said it's literally the same code as Modern Warfare 2. They're reselling you Modern Warfare 2 with new maps and a tweak, like gameplay tweaks. And they're acting like it's a new game, and they're charging you $70 plus tax. So I want to play it for myself and make a judgment. So let's see what happens Sunday night, okay? Monday's daytime stream, will likely be me trying to finish the Resident Evil 4 Separate Ways DLC. We're at the end of the game, essentially. We're at the end of Chapter 5, and there's 2 more chapters. I've heard Chapter 7 short. If we do a whole 3-hour stream, we should likely beat that DLC. So Monday night and the rest of the week is open, and here's what I mean by that, okay? Maybe I'll want to do a second stream of Modern Warfare 3's beta. Maybe we'll need more time to beat Lies of P. Maybe there will be time and opportunity for me to try Forza Motorsport, which is going to hit Game Pass on Tuesday. Maybe not, right? There's a lot of ifs, a lot of question marks right now. Because dependent on how long Lies of P takes to beat and Resident Evil, that kind of determines everything. Will I have time to play more Street Fighter this week? Maybe. I would love to. I'd love to do at least 2 streams of Street Fighter 6, but I don't think that's a given. We have to see what happens this week. What about Starfield? Well, we actually talked about this last week, and to be honest with everyone, I think Starfield has to be the game that at this point, unless we absolutely have a free stream or 2 in the middle of nowhere with nothing to do, I think Starfield's the game that has to go on hold. And you might say, well, why is that? Well, because honestly, it's the game that's held the least interest. Most people have seemed to turn against the game. Now that we're like 37, 38 hours in, people are like, wow, it really didn't innovate at all. All the things that Starfield claimed it would add that are new or different from other Bethesda games don't really exist or are just fluff. The space combat, almost non-existent, and when it exists, it sucks. The shipbuilding, incredibly tedious, completely superfluous, doesn't need to be in the game. Planet exploration, I did it once, the game fucking crashed during it. I literally never did it again, and it's affected nothing. Outpost building, exactly the same. My wife beat this game. She put over 80 hours into it. She literally never beat or built one outpost. She doesn't even know what it's for. She's like, I don't even know why I did that. She's like, I always had all the elements I needed to do any kind of, building, research. I never needed an outpost in the whole game. Why would I need it? Same thing with the research trees. Seems like all the research in the game is just, again, superfluous. It's extra to say it's there for content, but it's not needed content. It's just fluff. So, what does that leave? Faction quest lines, the main quest line, and the companion quest lines. They're all good. Admittedly, I've done 2 faction quest lines, a companion quest line, and I've got like maybe a third into the plot. I think it's decent. But it's exactly what you expect. There's nothing different about it. And now that we're jumping into all these new releases, people want to see me finish what I'm working on, play the new games. They're not too interested in Starfield anymore. I don't blame them. I think it's a fine game as a chill stream game, meaning to break up the seriousness and the challenge of really tough new releases. And you want a relaxing stream where we kind of sit back and have conversation. That's what I think Starfield is for. And so if I treat it like that, and every once in a while I decide to squeeze it in, then I think it would be fine. But I'm not foreseeing me playing Starfield as a major stream during these weeks moving forward. If anything, that's the game that's kind of going to be skipped unless there's time for it. All right? Everything else I think takes more priority. I'd rather play Street Fighter. I'd rather play these other new games. Really. But if we have time to squeeze it in, or one random night this week, want to do some Starfield and relax together, let's do it. Let's do one random stream, right? So let's see how things go, how time permits, and we can go from there. But I'm not stressing about Starfield at this point. In fact, I don't think I'm even missing anything by not playing it right now, you know? What's funny is, as you guys know, I have absolutely no desire to go back to Cyberpunk 2077. I know that the Phantom Liberty expansion just released a week or 2 ago. I just don't care. I didn't even like the base game when it came out many years ago. But there's some people who've been playing Starfield, and then when the Phantom Liberty expansion came out, they went back to Cyberpunk. And I'm seeing this movement on social media now, and essentially here's the movement. Wow, I was playing Starfield, and then I went back to Cyberpunk for the first time in years. They improved the game, they fixed the technical issues, and now that the game actually works, it actually is better than Starfield. The story, especially the story elements, are just better than what Starfield is presenting as a product. So a lot of people were playing Starfield and said, well, now I started playing Phantom Liberty, fuck Starfield. I don't want to go back to it. It's just the inferior choice. If I want to play this style of game, I'll play Cyberpunk. Now, I'm not going to say either way if that what I would say, because I don't like Cyberpunk. I just didn't like it, okay? That would be like, if you know you don't like something, but then you force yourself to go back to it, you know what's going to happen. I don't want to unfairly crap on a game that I already know I'm not enjoying just for the sake of going back and doing it again. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to do that. I think that would actually be unfair, you know? But I respect people who that's their opinion, and I can kind of get it. If you feel that Cyberpunk, now that it's fixed and dramatically improved from the original, is what Starfield should have been, then more power to you. And by the way, Cyberpunk runs at 60 fucking frames per second on every fucking platform. Okay. Anyway, so the schedule for this week is me trying to play as much Assassin's Creed Mirage as I can, right? Me trying to finish up Lies of P and Resident Evil 4. Me trying the Modern Warfare 3 beta. Trying to maybe get to Forza Motorsport if we can, but it's not a guarantee. Depends on how things go. And of course the React stuff. I will have the review. By the way, so Halloween Kills is my next movie review over on DSP React. I have a spoiler for all of you. I've already watched the movie. I don't know what I got myself into. I wish I could get myself out of it now, but I think it's a little too late because I've already watched 2 of these 3 movies, okay? Halloween Kills was fucking terrible. It was so bad. And like, I can't believe it was that bad. Because Halloween 2018 wasn't that bad. It was actually, I would say, decent, at least. There were definitely things I didn't like. But I definitely overall enjoyed it as a return to Halloween after all these years. Yo, Halloween Kills. Like, I mean, no exaggeration. You want to know? I don't want to spoil my review. But here's my abridged review of Halloween Kills. I want my 90 minutes back. That's my best review of the movie. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And that's right. And now that I've seen Halloween Kills, I'm hearing Halloween Ends is worse. How? No, I really don't understand how it could possibly be worse. I don't get it. Because I thought like that was bottom of the barrel. Oh, what they could do. I mean, that was really, I don't even know how, like, Halloween Kills doesn't even feel like you're watching a movie. Does it? I couldn't believe it. Okay, anyway. So I want to review Halloween Kills, but I don't know when. Like, tonight I'm playing Street Fighter. Typically when I play Street Fighter, I go a little later. Tomorrow night, I have to do all the playlist stuff for the React show on Sunday, right? So it's like every night, there's a reason why I basically can't stick around to film the dang review. And I told you guys this would be my problem. It's not the watching of horror movies. It's the time to film the reviews for them. So, we'll see how things go. Maybe I'll have time to review it tonight. If I have time to review it tonight, we'll see if I can squeeze it in. Then that would mean that I could probably watch Scream 6 early next week and review that like Monday, Tuesday night. I can't do it Sunday night because Sunday night I got to do patron private videos. That's the thing, every night. Tonight I might stay long for Street Fighter. Tomorrow I got to do the playlist for the React show, which takes like an hour. Then Sunday night I got to film the private React shows. That's an hour. You see? Oh. Excuse me. So, I will get to it. I will review more movies. I want to do more than I originally planned because my original plan was to watch the Halloween trilogy and the two Scream movies. But if I review 2 movies this week, I'm almost done. And that would be, we're only halfway into October. So maybe I would have more time to watch more. Like I said, one movie I actually feel like I want to watch is Dr. Sleep, the sequel to The Shining. The problem is it's too long. It's 2.5 hours long and it's a horror movie. Most horror movies are nice and short for a reason, right? They don't want to overstay their welcome. Makes me feel like it won't just be traditional horror. It's going to have a lot of psychological horror just like the original Shining did, right? Maybe a big setup and stuff. Excuse me. I guess we'll see. I'm interested in it. Like, I actually genuinely want to watch it, and it's on Max. so I could watch it whenever. And I might watch something else, so it depends. Let's see how time permits this month. I'm definitely in a spooky Halloween mood right now, so I'm down to watch horror movies, but we'll see as time permits, all right? Okay. All right, anything else? I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to cover before we get to, like, well, okay, let's just do this. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Phil's day off. What did I do yesterday? Not too much crazy stuff. It was another day where I kind of, it was a stay-home day because my wife wanted to play Assassin's Creed Mirage because it released yesterday. Just so you know, Kat is a big fan of Assassin's Creed. She always has been. It's one of her favorite game franchises. She actually has been a little disappointed that not one, not two, but 3 of the last Assassin's Creed games went to the Witcher formula and didn't really have real assassinations or stealth or anything like that, which is what she loves. So she is happy that this game is a return back to the classics. So she wanted to stay home to play a lot of it yesterday, but incidentally, it was the day off. I had to do a lot of errands and stuff. So I did. You know, I went to the dump, and I went to a pet store, grocery shopping. I had 1 or 2 other quick errands to pull, while I was out, and stuff like that. So while I was out doing all that stuff, she basically was playing Assassin's Creed. For dinner, we ordered from a Mediterranean place. We had never ordered from this one before, and they had shawarma platters. Now, again, not having ordered from this place before, we didn't know what to expect. So she got the lamb and beef shawarma, and I got the chicken shawarma. I said, why not? We'll share, and we'll each try all the different proteins that they offer. This thing showed up, all right? This, like, those foldable cardboard containers you put food in. This thing was filled to the brim with food. It weighed, I'm not kidding you, probably about 2 pounds. All right? You open it up. It's got an insane amount of the shawarma protein. All right? On top of an insanely huge bed of seasoned Mediterranean rice. And then it's got a big corner that's Greek-style salad. Diced tomatoes, onions, lettuce, the feta cheese, seasoning, and that special dressing. And then it's got hummus in the corner with a bunch of seasoning on it. And then you get the pitas, right? The pita bread that you then dip in the hummus. So, my God, it was insane amounts of... There was no way we could finish it. We each ate for like... We ate for like 15 minutes straight. And we were so full, and it looked like we hadn't eaten. Like, that's how much food was in the package. We're like, this is insanity, how much they put in here. It was absolutely delicious. So, we're happy because we kind of found a Mediterranean place we never ordered from before, and this one happened to be really, really good. So we're going to probably eat from there, in the future for sure, because it was such a good find. But outside of that, I mean, not much else to really say. My wife played a little bit more Assassin's Creed, and I was doing stuff around the house. We played with Jasper for a while. We cleaned the house up a little bit. It was a more laid-back week. Next week will be way more hectic, because next week, I got to go buy my Halloween costume for the Halloween marathon coming up at the end of the month. So now's a good time to remind everyone, please nominate games for the Halloween marathon. You can type !Halloween in the chat, or if you're a member, on the members tab of this channel, members can nominate horror games as well, or any games. Remember, the most nominated games will become a poll next week where people will start voting to determine what games I'll play on the Halloween marathon. So please do that. All right, the more nominations, the better. That was really my day off. There's nothing else crazy that happened or anything like that. So really no reason to go nuts about talking about segments that aren't that big of a deal. Just nothing of note really happened yesterday. Let's see. I'm just trying to think, is there anything else I want to cover before we get to the news segment? Probably not. All right, ladies and gents, it is time for my favorite segment. It's time for your favorite segment. It's time for everyone's favorite segment here on the Level 1 podcast. It is time for DSP News. Here we go. Sorry. A little build up there. Dramatic. All right. Let's get through the stories. Story number 1. Microsoft and Amazon are facing a UK regulator's investigation. This time around, it's about cloud services. Wait a minute. It sounds familiar. Wasn't Microsoft already in trouble for cloud services during their Activision acquisition? Yes. But for some reason, the same exact UK regulator, the same one, is doing the same investigation, only this time it's not just about gaming. Now it's about, in general, cloud storage. So the CMA, that's what they're called. I forget what that stands for. I had it, and I guess I didn't save it. It's this regulatory body in the UK. All right? Here's what they're basically saying. They feel that cloud storage is unfair and a monopoly between Microsoft and Amazon. That if you're not using one of those two services, you just don't have a chance to store anything you have in the cloud. So here's what they kind of said. There's a number of features in the supply of cloud services that make it more difficult for customers to be able to switch and use multiple cloud suppliers rather than just one. There's issues with charges that cloud customers have to pay to move their data out of the cloud. There's discounts if you only use exclusively one cloud provider, and there's technical barriers to switching between cloud providers that just make it not feasible. So essentially what they're saying is, if you're someone who has data in the cloud, and you might say, well, what kind of data? I mean, there's tons of data in the cloud. Right now, if you're on a phone and you use any of the major services and you take a picture and you say, I want to back up my pictures, it backs it up in the cloud. You're using it right now. Any game system, like if you have Xbox and you say auto back up my saves, that's backing them up to the cloud. Okay? You might inadvertently right now be using the exact services they're describing as an issue and not even realize it. So what they're saying is, there's so much data now being backed up to a cloud that people don't realize they're paying for it. Did you know that? Did you know that there's incredibly large limitations on an amount of data you can store? And then what they say is they try to weasel it in. They'll be like, oh, well, if you pay us another $1 a month, you get unlimited cloud storage, or you get double your cloud storage. And people don't even realize they're doing it. And they're like, oh, okay, and $1 a month, no big deal. So you're paying $1 a month, but that adds up. Imagine if every cell phone user out there is paying $1 a month to one of these services. Do you know how much money that is? Billions of dollars. And what they're essentially saying is, it's not a fair marketplace. Like right now, on my phone, I think it auto backs up to whatever the cloud that Apple has or whatever. It's true. They never gave me an option and said, oh, by the way, would you like to back up your photos to a competitor service that might be cheaper? I wouldn't even know how to do that. I have no idea, right? Same thing. If you're backing up your game saves with Microsoft, do you technically have to back up your game save on a Microsoft server? You shouldn't have to, but there's no way to not do that. Do you know the way to upload your game saves to someone else's cloud server? So I guess the CMA kind of has a point. When you actually think about it rationally, you're like, oh, I guess they do have a point. You're kind of forced to use these certain services. There's no competition. That's unfair. There's no way that there's a way for consumers to pick the best option. There literally is no choice. It's just do what's there or don't use the cloud, and that's unfair competition. So this is a thing now, apparently. I get, it's funny because we all say cloud gaming. We don't care about cloud gaming. You're right. I don't either. Cloud gaming really doesn't exist in any kind of a real way yet. Although we did see last year when I tried that PlayStation Plus Premium that actually some of the older legacy games, PS3, PS2 games, did stream pretty well from the cloud. But overall, I don't think it's a concern as of yet. However, now regulators are starting to jump on this and say, now, wait a minute. People are using it, and how is it fair that everyone has to pay the premium or they get forced into one lane of use? Why is there no competition? I was just thinking about it like, yeah, you're right. If I want to back up my games on my Xbox, right, it's free to do. But what if I wanted to use a competitor? I can't. There's literally no way to do that. How would you do that? I don't know. You'd have to go out of your way to even figure out a way to do it. Microsoft just guides you to their service. That's it. So I guess they have a point. Okay, so that's happening right now. And it looks like there's going to be some hot water about cloud gaming in the future, but not just gaming, but all cloud usage. Okay? We have some really bad news in regards to Telltale Games. For those who don't know, Telltale Games is the narrative-based gaming company that used to make games such as Jurassic Park, Back to the Future. They hit big prominence with their The Walking Dead series and spin-offs. Then, of course, they made games like The Wolf Among Us, Game of Thrones, Tales from the Borderlands, the Batman franchise, and more. And then they went out of business because they overextended. They spent too much money getting all these IPs, and they weren't really making enough money on the sales end to maintain the model, so they went out of business. Then Telltale Games was bought by another company, and reopened, and they restarted development on games. Like, they finished up The Walking Dead, then they continued on development of games like The Wolf Among Us. In fact, just last year, did you know, last year, there was a Tales from the Borderlands sequel? Huh? Yeah. Last year, there was a Tales from the Borderlands sequel. No one talks about it because no one played it. Yeah. Basically, what happened was the game released with little to no press or hoopla. No one really talked about it, so no one actually ended up playing it. I remember when the first Tale from the Borderlands came out, it was all over the place. Everyone was talking about it because that was the original Telltale, and the original Telltale had that kind of notoriety and almost like, media coverage slash promotion, marketing. But no one even knew the sequel came out. I didn't even see a single review for it. So, it was announced yesterday. Sadly, Telltale Games, for the second time, is having problems. They have done tons of internal layoffs. Some people are saying as much as half the company has been laid off. They released the following statement. Due to current market conditions, we regrettably had to let some of our Telltale team go recently. We did not take the action lightly, and our commitment to storytelling and finding new ways to do so remains the same. We're grateful for everyone for their dedication along the journey, and we're working to support everyone impacted. All projects currently in development are still in production, and we have no further updates at this time. Now, I hate to say this, because I liked Telltale games back in the day. I did. Like, those are some of the formative games that I was playing in my early YouTube days. I think that the Walking Dead original season was so good. And the fact that I played these games on release day showed you options of making choices, how meaningful they were, things like that. I think people really loved those playthroughs from back in the day and got me a lot of notoriety on YouTube, those choose-your-own-adventure style games, okay? Over the years, they fell out of prominence. There became so many of them, the market became oversaturated, and then we had other companies like Don't Nod coming out with games like Life is Strange that competed, and once the market got oversaturated, it didn't really matter anymore. People forgot about those games, and basically they fell out of, even being good sellers. And that's why Telltale went out of business the first time. So to hear that they came back, and now literally they've released one game, and the game didn't do well, and now they had to lay off like a ton of their staff. Should I say what everyone else is thinking? They probably shouldn't have come back to begin with. That style of game was for a certain time period, and that time period was over a decade ago. The era of Heavy Rain, The Walking Dead, when it was huge and prominent. Again, games like Life is Strange 1 and stuff like that. It was huge back then. But now these days, I think those games just aren't that popular anymore, right? It's over. There was a fad, there was a movement, people liked it at the time, but you have to recognize trends. And when you recognize that the trend is over, you move on. And it seems like they don't realize that yet. I think what it is there is a fan base. Like, people really want The Wolf Among Us 2. They love The Wolf Among Us 1 so much, they absolutely want a sequel. But outside of that, I don't really hear anyone clamoring for other games from Telltale. So when they made a sequel to Tales from the Borderlands, it's like, why did they do that? Everyone wants The Wolf Among Us 2, so why did they make the sequel to Tales from the Borderlands, right? Just give the people what they want and see if it's successful. And if it's successful enough to then fund other projects or whatever, then do it. But I honestly feel like this is a step in the wrong direction, and they might have screwed everything up. To lose an insane amount of their staff while they're trying to juggle projects is not good. I feel like they're right back to square one where they were years ago, on the verge of going out of business. So we got to see what happens and follow the story. I'm just a little nervous, honestly, that they may fold again, which would really suck if they did. All right. Oh, here's a fun story in 2023. Sony got hacked. We heard about this a few weeks ago, actually, that there was a rumor that Sony had been hacked and hackers were basically using ransomware to try to get Sony to pay big dollars. Now, we hadn't heard much about it since then, and we were wondering what could happen. What about games like Spider-Man 2 and things like that, right? Well, Sony did get hacked, but it wasn't what we thought. Listen to this, because this is the update to the story. Sony has confirmed they have had multiple server security breaches. And it's not game data. Listen to this. It's Employee data. Yes. Employee data. If you can believe. So, if you're working for Sony, that's bad, right? Like, seriously. You can now have all your data leaked all over the internet, okay? They've said upwards of 6,800 current and former employees may have had their data hacked and been collected by hackers. The hackers may or may not be selling this data maliciously all over the internet. So, no, it's not what we thought. It's not, oh, game data and stuff like that. Anyone who worked for Sony could literally now be having identity theft going on and have their whole lives ruined. Oh, is that all? Only 6,800 employees of Sony are at risk? Is that it? Here's what I smell. Class action lawsuit. Right? I smell a big class action lawsuit coming against Sony, which, by the way, if this is 100% confirmed, which it appears it is, because Sony apparently publicly admitted it, they don't have a leg to stand on. It is their legal responsibility to protect the data of their employees, and if they fail to do that, they're going to get sued and lose and have to pay a bunch of money. They're going to have to provide identity monitoring services, services to correct someone's credit. If their credit or identity gets ruined on the internet, they're actually legally responsible to fix that. Yeah, they're fucked. This has happened a bunch of times, by the way. So, I guess we'll see what happens moving forward. But if you ever worked for Sony, I would say immediately start looking into this, because the last thing you want is someone messing with your information, and now, you know, your whole kind of financial life is ruined if someone has your data and can actually go out there and do shit with it. I guess the question is, what's the data? And of course, they're not going to say that because that could help hackers. You know what I'm saying? But can you imagine if it has all your stuff, your personal stuff, your passwords, your fucking, hell, I hate to say it, your social security number? Oi, not good. But I guess it depends on what actually was hacked, which we don't know, and they're not going to say. So, how does this keep happening to Sony, by the way? Right? Every few years, Sony got hacked again. It's like, again? At this point, I would just take everything and go lock it up in, like, a fucking ice fortress in, like, Antarctica or something. No one's going there, right? No one's going to go there to get the data. Like, I don't know. It just keeps happening over and over. All right. We got one more news story for today. Ready? You may or may not have heard this one. I actually heard some people talking about it in chat earlier this week, and I didn't know what they were talking about, but now I looked into it. You ready? This week, Rockstar Games patched Red Dead Redemption. And when I say that, I mean it's the most recent port that they had just sold. If you remember, they just sold it, what, a month or two ago? And everyone was making fun of it. They were like, it's just a straight-up port. Like, they didn't really do anything to improve the quality of the game. Why would you get this game again? It didn't really make sense, right? So, everyone was like, it's a skip. Why would you get Red Dead Redemption 1 again on a modern console when it runs exactly the same as the previous versions? Well, basically behind the scenes, without even telling anyone, they patched the PS5 version of the game, alright? For the first time ever, you can now play Red Dead Redemption 1 at 60 frames per second. However, the PlayStation 4 and the Switch ports of Red Dead Redemption, which cost exactly the same price as the PS5 version, were not patched whatsoever. Xbox never got this port, alright? Xbox already had an upscaled version of Red Dead Redemption 1 running on it via backwards compatibility, and it looks good. It looks like good quality, but it runs at 30 frames per second. Okay? So, only if you bought Red Dead Redemption's new port of Red Dead 1 on PlayStation 5 exclusively, you can play it at 60 frames. It's the only way to play the game at 60 frames per second right now. So if you're interested in playing Red Dead 1, which, by the way, is a very good game, a little outdated at this point, but it's still a fun story and some good gameplay elements there, and you want to get 60 frames for the first time ever, get it on PS5. but it's pricey. Isn't it like a full... I thought it was 60. Maybe I'm wrong. Is it 50? 60? It was pricey. Like, I remember people saying they're charging a ton of money for it for no good reason. Because it didn't have this mode. Now that it has this mode, maybe you can justify it, right? People are saying in the chat it's 50. 50 bucks. Okay. So $50 for Red Dead Redemption 1 on the PS5, and it runs at 60 frames. The only way you can do that right now, all of the versions run at only 30. There you go. All right, ladies and gents, that's DSP news for today. There's a good amount of news stories to cover, right? There's always a good amount of news when I'm off, for whatever reason. That's when all the news happens, and I come back, and it's like a dead week every week. Anyway, so, folks, today's a new release day. Today's the first day of the week. It would be great to get some support. You guys know that I'm an independent content creator. I don't have sponsorships. I don't run a ton of ads. I'm essentially here to just put fun content out for you guys and have a good time. The reason I'm still here for 15 years is because of you. If you could support today's streams in any way, I'd appreciate it. Engagement is key. Liking the stream, talking in the stream chat, liking the on-demand videos, leaving comments on them, all helps tons. Things like super chats, memberships, gifted memberships, tips, all appreciated, and that's what keeps all this content going, particularly this week. My goal by the end of the week would be to get 650 members. I don't know if I'll hit that. We had it 2 weeks ago, and then we lost it. I don't know if we'll get back to that or not. It would be great to hit just a few members today. We'll see what happens. And, of course, my goal continues to be, let's hit the Tier 1 tips goal every stream this week. If I can hit that Tier 1 tips goal every stream, that would be spectacular, and that would help out, especially with the cost of all these games coming out in the next few weeks that I got to drop money on. It would help a ton. So if you can do that, thank you in advance. And that's that. I think it is now time for us to get to shout-outs and then some open Q&A for a little bit. So shout-outs. We start off today with Mr. Game Master with a super chat. After 5 months, Redfall has gotten a 60 frames per second patch. Wow. Yeah, no one cares. No one cares about Redfall. The game is terrible. I'm not even going to talk about it. It's just a waste of everyone's time. Thank you for the super chat. Mango did a super chat. Mango Jewel Paws, that is. I'm not part of the FGC. I'm not trying to be competitive, but everyone wants to see me play against the pros and greats. Make it make sense. Sure. I'm not competitive. I'm not part of the FGC, but everyone wants to see me play against the pros. What's not to understand? Just because I don't have the desire to become competitive doesn't mean people don't want to see me try to hang with the pros. That's what I think. Like, remember when I played Snake Eyes, how people freaked out? That's what people want to see me get to that level. I don't know why. I'm not going to play at a competitive level, but people want to see it. It's pretty much matter of fact, self-explanatory here. I don't know why I think it's rocket science. Zendertaker did a super chat this morning. I'm wishing you well. Thanks for entertaining us. You're my favorite gamer. Well, thank you to Zendertaker for the very positive and kind words. Let's get you up on the leaderboard as the latest super chatter. And Butters re-upped their membership for 11 months. Watch both Terrifier movies. I'm aware of them, but for what I'm going to understand, they're essentially just gore, right? Like, it's just supposed to be, like, really disgusting, excessive, nasty, over-the-top gore. I don't know if I'm down for that in 2023. I've been there, done that when I was younger. But I don't know if that's really something that I want to, you know, partake in today. But we'll see. I'll take your suggestion into consideration. Let's put it that way. Okay? All right. That's it. I have nothing on the tip side of things to shout out this morning. No tips have come in yet. So, what do you guys want to talk about? Tag me in the chat. We'll chat for a little bit before I go on my break, and then we jump into Assassin's Creed Mirage. What's on everyone's mind? What are the burning issues? What's going on, Juan David? Good morning. Do I think using a pro joystick is an advantage to Street Fighter? Not anymore. At one point it was, many years ago. Not anymore, because now all the games have had such dumbed-down inputs and or input shortcuts available that you can literally play it at the same level on a pad, so there's no advantage anymore. Knickerbocker says, did you look at community responses on your suggestion post? Do you not explain how this works? Or did you not understand how this works? I explained it the other day. So we have a community suggestions post right now on the main channel page of this channel. People are posting up, and every day I am approving people's posts. What we're going to do is either at the very end of this month or the beginning of next month, we're going to sit down and we're going to read through those on the podcast. That's the point. I don't have time to go through all of them now and address them. We're going to do it all, you know, as, you know, good content for the podcast you know, for probably a few days at the beginning of every month. And it would be a great way to take them in. I can tell you, this is a good one. I'll consider it. This one that we can't do, here's why. And that way people will feel like they've got their stuff addressed. No, I have no chance right now to do that. How would I do that right now exactly? So, no. That's the premise of it, is that you get an ongoing play suggestion box. You put all the suggestions in there, and then we take a chunk out of time to look at and review those suggestions in the future. Okay? No, my wife does not dress up for Halloween. Try I Saw the Devil. Same actor as the guy in Old Boy. Very good movie. Oh, I've never seen Old Boy. Is it a Japanese movie? I don't know about that one. Thanks for the suggestion. I Saw the Devil. Okay. Really? Vincenzo Plate says PC players are playing on high hertz monitors, like 500 hertz monitors. It's crazy the advantage they're getting in competitive play with crossplay. I'll take your word for it. Again, I don't know the technical aspects of that stuff, but I'll take your word for it. Jade, good to have you here today. No, I've never pet a duck before. Ducks don't like to be pet. Oh, it's Korean. It's a Korean movie. I Saw the Devil. Okay, I'll have to look into it. Have I considered playing fighting games with a regular controller? Thing is, I've played on a joystick for so long that I know it would be more of a learning curve for me to learn it on this than on the stick. Now, I've played fighting games on this before, just not really Street Fighter. Okay? I mean, I think eventually I could. I just think like it's easier for me to play on joystick because I'm so used to it. Also, I'm used to playing with 6 buttons. Are you aware that a lot of pad players don't use all 6 buttons? They use shortcuts. They can use like triggers and stuff as shortcut buttons. But for me, I like just pushing the real buttons on a joystick. Again, it's what I grew up doing. It's what I'm just used to doing. Am I planning to do an interview with Mutahar? When you say Mutahar, isn't that guy, Some Ordinary Gamers, I think is his name on YouTube? So, if you want, would you like to hear the story? Because basically this happened, I guess there was a little bit of interaction with me and him on Twitter a couple months ago, and literally no one has asked me about this since then. So basically, I guess the guy doesn't like me. And he's done many stories about me over the years, how he hates me, how he thinks that I'm a bad person, a bad gamer. I very much unfairly, I make YouTubers look bad. I have no idea how he ever came to that conclusion, but apparently he doesn't like me, okay? So, a few months ago, for whatever reason, I can't even remember what it was, like someone had said that they wanted to interview me again. Now, I had an interview earlier this year. You know how it went. I told you guys I'm not interested in any further interviews. I don't give 2 shits about what anyone has to say. I just want to make my content and be left alone. Correct? In fact, really the reason I'm not interested in an interview is how it affected you guys. You guys told me for like 2 months after that Side-Scrollers interview that all it was drama for you guys, and you didn't want to deal with that. You just wanted to have fun with me on stream, and you hated that it went that way. Please don't do this nonsense anymore. So I've done my best this year to stay out of drama. Correct? So, basically, I guess there was discussion on like Twitter, and again, I don't know because I have all these people blocked or whatever. I'm not paying attention. That people wanted to interview me, and I guess this guy Mutahar was one of them, and he had said that he was going to pay me $5,000 for an interview. All right, but I had him blocked on Twitter. He's like, if people could get him to unblock me, I'd like to talk to him. All right, so I unblocked him, and he DM'd me, and all he basically said was, I want to do an interview with you. I'll pay you $5,000 for it. And I want to cover common questions and things that people have on the internet about you. He says it would not be personal, meaning when he says that, it would not be about your wife. It would not be about family members. It would essentially be about you and your streaming, your business, and how you operate your business, and all kinds of shit like that. Right? And really it was a very nice message. He was very respectful. And within that day, I responded right back to him. I said, first of all, and this is, I'm just paraphrasing, but I said, first of all, I'm not accepting any payment for any interview. I refuse. I'm not important enough of a person to accept payment for an interview. So the answer is no, I would not accept your offer of $5,000. I said, if you want to pay something, you could donate it somewhere. If we did an interview, go donate $5,000 to a charity. Or we could talk about a charity to donate it to, because I don't want to be a part of accepting payment for an interview. But hey, maybe if it goes to a good cause, then something good comes out of it, right? And what I responded was, it's this simple. I don't want to talk about the same drama shit that everyone already asked me about. Like, the whole point of me doing that interview with Side Scrollers in March was very simple, so that all of the answers are in one spot. If you want to see my side or my take or my answers on some of those, what I feel are really stupid personal questions that have nothing to do with my business, but if that's what you want, you know, the answers are there. They already asked all the questions. I answered to the best of my ability, and those answers are never going to change because they're truthful, right? So why, if you ask me an interview and you ask me the same fucking questions that those guys asked me, you're going to get exactly the same answers. You have nothing different, right? So I said, so no, if the interview is going to be about that same stuff, then the answer is no, I'm not interested. However, if you want to do interviews about anything else, you want to talk about games, you want to talk about, hey, my work ethic, hey, you know what? If people had an issue with the amount that they think I e-beg, fine, we could talk about that. I'm down for that. But the thing is, I don't want us to talk about the same bullshit that people keep bringing up over and over. The fucking mobile game shit and the fucking bankruptcy shit. The shit that's no one's business, by the way. It never should have been anyone's business. It's stuff that people force to the forefront as a reason not to like me, despite the fact it has nothing to do with what I do on my streams at all. Nothing, right? How many times have we talked about that stuff in the last many months that I've told you guys I'm done with drama? Zero. How much fun have we had on stream because we're not talking about it? Tons, right? So that's why. Why the fuck would I ever have to bring that shit up ever again? It doesn't affect any of the content we make together. So, what, you know, again, it's like to entertain these morons out there who just want to keep doing ridiculous stuff, right? The interview in March served the purpose that it served, and it's good for that. You want to see my answers to bullshit? Watch the interview. You don't have to believe my answers, but you know what my answers are. There's no point in me ever doing a second interview about the same topics. My answers will never change because it's truthful answers from me. Okay? So, what I did bring up, I said, I think if you want to have a good interview, sure, let's, you know, bring up the stuff that you don't like about me, like the e-betting or whatever, but let's talk about that Side Scrollers interview. Let's talk about how those guys all became fucking snakes after the fact, and literally for the last many months have profited directly off of slandering me and everything about me. Because I think that would be something people would like to hear about. Because it's pretty obvious that's exactly what they've done. And take a look at their behavior, not only with me, but others since then. I think that would be a great interview exposing how bad they are as people, as content creators, right? I'm willing to talk about that, or anything else you want. Just don't ask me the same questions, okay? So that was my response to him. I have never heard from him since. No response whatsoever. He just, as if I never responded. Didn't even say, oh, thanks for the response. He just never responded. So the answer is, no, I'm not doing an interview with this guy, because apparently he wasn't interested in anything besides the same exact drama questions that have already been asked, expecting that my answers would change, which they were not going to, because I've already said my piece of the truth about the situation, and that's that. So, there you go. It's that simple, right? So, you know, if they're not going to get what they want out of it, you know, and no, it didn't hit a spam folder because it was through DMs on Twitter. So he definitely read it. He just didn't care for my answer, and that was it. Never heard from him again. So there you go. Okay. RG Beef says, did you see Jurassic Park in theaters? Yes, I did with my parents, and it was amazing. It was the first movie ever to have THX surround sound, and it was insane. It felt super realistic and scary, basically, you know? Have I seen Trick or Treat or the two recent It movies? I think I saw Trick or Treat ages ago, and I think I saw the first of the two It movies. Yes, it is hot here. The sun is beating on my office. The office is heating up insanely, and there's nothing I can do to cool down. I have to sit in this office and sweat all day because I don't have air conditioning anymore. Why the fuck would I have air conditioning in the house in mid-October, right? I'd be an idiot. But we have fucking summer weather right now. I'm glad to hear you're feeling better, Iron Man the Power. Jade, good to have you here. He says the first time he'll be watching an Assassin's Creed game live here. So, I have a fan blowing right now. It's an oscillating fan. I can't have big fans in this office because all you'd hear is the fan. You'd never be able to hear me talking because it's a small, isolated office. All I can have is like a tower fan. It's going right now. It's cooling me down as much as it possibly can, and it doesn't really work. Yeah, Sunday, I don't know. Says you haven't played any first-person shooters in a while, so maybe the Modern Warfare beta would be interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Why don't I have air conditioning in my house? Because these houses out here don't have central air. In the Pacific Northwest, the climate used to be much cooler. We didn't have hot summers. It used to be moderate. And to install central air, when I moved here 10 years ago, I was told $13,000. I would assume with inflation, probably it would be around $18,000 today. I don't have $18,000. If the economy would change and inflation would go down, then I could probably refinance my home and actually do some home improvements and maybe do that. But look what's happened in the last 2 years. Interest rates have gone up. I can't refinance my house. So I'm stuck. I don't have money to do it. I don't have finances to do it. And I can't refinance, so I can't put central air in my house. I had air conditioners in my windows. I took them out because summer was over. And it was cool for 2 weeks. And now we have summer weather again. So what am I supposed to do? Right? Do I have Jasper as my phone background? No, I usually just have like generic landscape stuff, like a mountain or something. Nothing special. Oh, let's see here. Samwise Gamgee, you don't know what you're talking about. He goes, don't you have a furnace you could upgrade for $6,000? Like, I love know-it-alls. I love it. I've already told this story a million times. All right. In a nutshell, the homes out here were not designed for central air. The whole entire system of vents and everything is meant to heat the house, not cool it. It doesn't even push air properly to the second floor like it's supposed to. When I had a guy come out here when I first moved in, he walked around the house and he's looking, he's like, yeah. He's like, basically, even if you installed a central air unit right now, you would not get any air conditioning on the second floor. You'd only get it on the base level because the whole ductwork and everything is wrong for that. So you'd have to redo your whole duct system to have true central air, and it would cost you, at this time, he told me $13,000. That was in 2014. Today, 2023, I guarantee it would be like $18,000 to $20,000 to redo this. So I don't have that money. Maybe, again, in the future, if the fucking economy turns around, if this inflation goes away and everything, right? It would be great. But right now, I'm fucked. I'm stuck where I am, and I can't do anything. You know? Don't have that kind of money. So what do? I have multiple in-window air conditioners. I have one here, one over there, one down the hallway, and we had them running all summer. No exaggeration, in the hottest summer ever and the most expensive ever, the electric bill was off the charts, how much money I paid to get those running every day. And then I just took them out like 2-3 weeks ago because it was the fall and it was cooler. We had 2 weeks of autumn weather, and now all of a sudden we got summer again. So I'm fucked, and there's nothing I can do about it. Mr. Game Master, thank you for that super chat. Mango Jewel Pods re-upped his membership. Stop wearing goofy shirts. It's too hot. All right, I'll stop wearing goofy shirts. This is a very goofy shirt, obviously. Very, very hilariously goofy, right? No one wears these shirts but me. Okay. I received a $5 tip from Super Snow Carl Turbo HD Remix. He says, don't at me, but I think Hitman is the better assassin genre game. I'm not a fan of the story premise of Assassin's Creed. Like, why is it through virtual reality, man? But I think the whole idea is that it's not. Like, what you are experiencing it, okay, through VR or whatever, but it actually really historically happened. You're experiencing it through first person, through this machine called the Animus, but it actually did historically happen in the past. You understand? Then again, I don't know why I'm explaining the premise of Assassin's Creed. The series has been out for 15 years. Thanks for that. And I also received a $20 tip from 1 Minute Man. So thank you to 1 Minute Man. Let's get you up on the leaderboard. You know, it just occurred to me. It's been almost a week, we still have not seen the best Halloween animation, the highest level, the $100 Halloween animation has not played yet because we have not had a $100 tip. Will we have a $100 tip by the end of this month? I don't know. I guess we'll see. But hasn't happened yet. Thank you very much to 1 Minute Man for your ongoing support of all of my content on a daily basis. I really appreciate that. And you are currently the top contributor to the stream. So thank you for that. Okay. Looks like I've received a $3 tip from an anonymous tipper. Thank you to the $3 tip, anonymous tipper. Very nice of you. Okay. Well, folks, I do believe it is time for us to end the show. It ran long as usual on my day back. Usually it always runs long on my day back from break, right? We always got a lot to talk about. Thanks for a great show. I really enjoyed the show. I think it's time to adjourn for now and take a little break, and then I'll jump into Assassin's Creed for today, new game playthrough. We'll see how this first session is and go from there. And I thank you all. Tomorrow, I'll obviously have my first impressions on the game. We'll talk a little bit more about Street Fighter 6, any news that's going on, and the like. So I thank you all very much for another great podcast, the beginning of another great week. Man, we got a lot of crazy stuff going on this week. Again, finishing up these games, new games, good mix of stuff. The fall gaming season has begun. Apparently the weather has not stuck, but the season of games is here. And that means it is time to wish you all a happy Halloween.